Hi classmates, we are Group 1. Did you know that global divide is also known as North-South divide? It is a global socio-economic and political categorization. The Cold War-era generalization places countries in two distinct groups. The global North is comprised of all First World countries and most Second World countries, which are wealthy developed countries, while the global South is comprised of Third World countries or poorer developing countries or least developed countries. In the 1980s, the Brandt Line was proposed by West German former Chancellor, Willy Brandt. It was developed as a way of showing how the world was geographically split into relatively richer and poorer nations. Richer countries are almost all located in the Northern Hemisphere. Poorer countries are mostly located in tropical regions and in the Southern Hemisphere. The origin of dividing countries into the North-South divide arose during the Cold War of the mid-20th century. During this time, countries were primarily categorized according to their alignment between the Russian East and the American West. Countries in the East like the Soviet Union and China, which became classified as Second World countries. In the West, the United States and its allies were labeled as First World countries. This division left out many countries which were poorer than the First World and Second World countries. The poor countries were eventually labeled as Third World countries. This categorization was later abandoned after the Second World countries joined the First World countries. New criteria was established to categorize countries, which was named the North-South divide, where First World countries were known as the North while Third World countries comprised the South. What is Global North and Global South? They are considered as the richer or high-income countries such as Canada, US, European countries, Israel, and developed parts of East Asia with the exception of Australia and New Zealand. They are characterized by established democracy, wealth, technological advancement, political stability, aging population growth and dominance of world trade politics. They are the poorer countries or less developed counties characterized by low level of economic development, large inequalities in living standards and low life expectancy, such as Latin America, African countries, and developing Asia. They are characterized by low level of economic development, large inequalities in living standards and low life expectancy. What are the differences between the Global North and Global South? The Global North have less population. They are the countries with high wealth, high standard of living, high technological advancement, high economic and educational development, and they are more on industrial. While the Global South have large population, the countries suffer from high poverty, low standard of living, less technological advancement, low economic and educational development, and they are more on agricultural. What are the reasons of global divide? It is caused by political power, economic dependency, and importation-exportation of resources. The transition of industrial production to cheaper labor sources, international media, and expanding international trade and communication have in some ways made the world smaller, yet in other ways made the gaps between nations larger by creating greater dependency of poor nations to wealthy nations.